What if I told you this peaceful hill is actually the face of a giant frozen in sleep, and that some nights people swear they feel it breathing beneath their feet? Stay with me, because by the end, you'll never see hills the same way again. In this video, you'll discover where this legend comes from, the strange signs locals still talk about, and the hidden lesson behind the story of the Sleeping Giant's Hill. And at the very end, I'll reveal the creepiest version of the tale. Imagine you're a kid walking home late, the path curves around the hill, the air is still. Then a low rumble under your shoes. Is it a truck, thunder, or something turning in its sleep deep inside the earth? Across old villages, people point at certain hills and say, that's not just stone, that's a giant buried after an ancient battle. The shape of the hill looks like a nose, a chest, even folded arms if you stare long enough. One version says the giant was so big and loud that the people begged the earth to swallow him. The ground rose like a wave wrapped around his body and slowly hardened into rock. His heartbeat? They say earthquakes are his dreams. Another legend is softer. The giant protected the valley, then lay down to rest for just a moment. Grass grew over him, trees took root, and birds nested on his chest. The hill became a green blanket, tucking him in forever. So why invent a story like this? Easy. People needed a way to explain strange shapes in nature. A hill that looked like a sleeping body, a rock like a foot, a cliff like a jaw. Myth turns weird geography into a character you can remember. And it worked. Parents told kids, don't shout near the hill or you'll wake him. Perfect trick to keep little ones from wandering too far. The myth became an invisible fence, wrapping the village in a story instead of a wall. But some details are unsettling. People report sudden gusts of wind only on the hill's chest. Others say on certain nights the ground gives one slow, heavy shiver, like a massive creature letting out a deep sigh in its sleep. Of course, science has an answer: shifting soil, underground water, small tremors. But the human brain loves the giant version better. It's more fun to believe the hill is alive than to think it's just dirt and rock, right? These stories also give power back to ordinary people. In some versions, the villagers defeat the giant with clever tricks. In others, they win his protection. Either way, the message is clear. Even huge forces can be guided by small humans. Next time you pass a strange hill, try this. Outline it in your mind. Can you see a shoulder, a back, a sleeping face? The moment you do, you're doing exactly what ancient storytellers did, turning raw landscape into living myth. So, is there really a sleeping giant under the ground? Maybe not in the way legends say, but the idea of him? That lives in every person who grew up in his shadow, who still walks a little softer when they cross his chest. And that's the real magic. Myths turn the world into a storybook. A hill is no longer a bump on a map, it's a character with a past, a mood, maybe even a temper. Suddenly, every walk in nature feels like turning a new page. Now here's the creepiest twist. In some endings, the legend says, when the last person who believes in the giant dies, he will finally wake up. So tell me, after hearing this story, are you really sure you don't believe it all?